Alright, and we're back. So after that last video, it looked like we had some glitching going on with the video there. Hopefully it doesn't take place again here. We'll try to keep an eye out for it. Obviously, as you see there, we just gave the Confederates their third straight win with the Battle of Wilson's Creek, or we'll call it Battle of Carrollton, Missouri, as the game called it. I'm not sure how, but not for me to really determine there. Our retreat was much shorter than I thought it would be. Now, we didn't check to see if anybody was defamed after that battle. It looks like Curtis got placed in charge of one of the brigades. I'm not sure what happened there, but it looks like he's now in charge. Andrews, yeah, he took Andrews' spot, but that works. Really, Curtis shouldn't be there because he's not from Missouri, so we'll go ahead and fix that since the AI tends to do that. And it looks like the choice is Benjamin Prentice. So Prentice will take control of that brigade for now. As we start making it to... Man, our credit rating is going up. Honestly, don't know the last time I played this game and had the credit rating go up. So, with only 5,000 men in that, quote, army, we'll probably do some consolidation here. Really, that's probably what we're going to be doing a lot of here in the next few months. I don't foresee us with any more offensive pushes anywhere. Bull Nelson probably needs to fall back to Lexington just to be safe. Our only army in the green right now is Hope and the Army of Occupation. But again, that's 8,000 men. Army is a very loose term in 1861. We do have some naval engagements taking place. Hopefully we can be successful in some of these. Looks like we have two. So we'll check this one out first, and it looks like McKeon has a good handle on the Texas Maritime Department. And let's see, our other one is going to be over here by Wilmington, North Carolina. And again, Rowan should reasonably win this fight, but looks like he has mainly bigger ships here. Only 6 ships made it to the fight. So there's a chance they could end up out of range. See, one just made it out of range, and we're down to now 4 ships in the fight. So we might be able to... it looks like we're doing pretty well there. Let's check and see how we did in Texas. Gulf of Mexico, we captured 1 ship. We'll go check that real quick. Yep, the CSS Henry Dodge. So we'll get that sent to a port. Looks like McKeon did okay. He's got only 11 of 25 ships. So while the CSA gets their victories on land, right now we're getting them on sea. Let's see if we have any ships that are ready or repaired to add to this. 60% is not really what I want to see there from the USS Daylight. So they'll be under strength for a little while, but right now the CSA Navy's getting hit pretty hard. I wouldn't anticipate a lot more raids from them right now. So we'll pick up the speed again, and we'll bring you back in as things start to happen. So we are back, and we have an engagement happening in the Tennessee River. Really, it's kind of the Mississippi, but they're going to call it the Tennessee River. And Rogers looks like he's got a sizable fight on his hands here with Isaac Brown's Kentucky squadron. Our Mississippi squadron is coming to help out, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty fair fight, realistically. We're a little lower on firepower at this individual point. That's kind of why we ordered all of those ironclads earlier on in episode 1. So we'll speed up a little bit. As you see, we're losing some ships. And that's not... Yeah, we're down 2 ships already. While they are doing perfectly fine. Probably going to end up losing this battle before the Mississippi River Squadron shows up with Foot's 87 guns. Oh. Looks like we lost, but are going to maintain our position in the blockade. We're going to send the Missouri River Squadron back to port to go get fixed up, because they didn't do very well. And while you're here, we are almost done with Militia Act 3, which will give us 2-year contracts. So then we'll have a really big decision to make. We've been kind of back and forth on it myself while I've been sitting here. Is whether to go get 3-year contracts, or with AOM, one of the big pieces is you cannot get Army reorganization until after you've done recruitment bounties. So, that's a big piece there for the reorganization of this army. As you see, we're spread all over the place right now. So to reorganize, that's going to be something that's really important going forward, and getting corps and divisions situated correctly. I guess our Army of Shenandoah with Nathaniel Banks is prepared. Our intelligence says that it'd be a relatively fair fight at Winchester, but I'm not sure Banks is ready to make that push. We might wait and do it right there in October. See if we can't push a little bit on Joe Johnston and the Army of the Shenandoah. So as we get those 2-year contracts, let's see what we're going to decide to do here. We've got 80 days to get militia a 3-year contract. 26.2 and 20.2. And print notes is pretty important as well, to get done before the first year is over. It's a tough decision. We do have a lot of troops on their way, so what we'll do right now is we'll do print notes. It's the shortest, and then we'll jump immediately to military 2. So obviously down here, as it shows you, that's Army and Recruitment Reorganization. That lets us do the corps system. That is going to make things a little difficult. Realistically, 3-year contracts took a little bit longer to get put in place, so we'll probably go to Military 2 next and try to figure it out after that. Looks like we're going to have another naval battle down here. Apparently we only have 2 ships in contact with Beale's Virginia Raiding Squadron. And it's 2 of our smaller ships. I'm not sure where the rest of them are, but I guess they're spread out blockading. I'm hoping the rest of the ships decide to join in, because the Cricket being disabled in the Rhode Island isn't going to last much longer. I did see our Potomac flotilla is going to try to join in. I don't really want them to. I prefer them being here guarding that, because otherwise the AI has a tendency to jump in. Looks like the battle caused us to have 1 ship captured and 1 sunk. Looks like while that was going on, the Kentucky squadron was also hit. Oh, okay, it was their Kentucky squadron. Foote really did get over there and decide to do some damage. So we'll go check and see what ships. He has an ironclad that needs redone, and a couple captured ships, which one looks like we captured back. So we'll get some repairs started on those, and it looks like it's going to be a Navy-heavy year of 1861, and that's okay, because we should outnumber them from a naval perspective right now. Alright, so as you see there, we're going to see that the Confederacy also is going to 2-year contracts. We're almost a month farther ahead in game time, and nothing really exciting is going on so far. We're moving a couple of our now unlocked departments down just to get a little bit of extra defenses around Washington, just in case the AI starts feeling a little overconfident here. Figure it's always safer to have some troops inside Washington just in case. So the Department of Maryland and Department of Pennsylvania, while they're still not fully reinforced, we are going to move them down into Washington, D.C., where the Department of Washington and the Army of Northeastern Virginia are both going to be at with them. From there, we really don't have a whole lot of other options. We don't have enough troops really to push into Manassas again. It'd be a pretty even battle by the time we cross the river. My assumption is the Shenandoah Army and the Department of Richmond would both probably make it over to us. Looks like we hit the Savannah Squadron again. That was a quick battle. If you notice, we do have an enemy blockade up around New Haven. I've noticed the AI likes to do it. The Charleston Squadron apparently has decided to come all the way up from Charleston up to New Haven. So we do have a fleet in anticipation of that, led by Farragut up here. But as you see, there's 12 disabled ships still there. While we might be strong enough to really kind of hammer that small fleet. We really want to wait till we build up some of that strength. Savannah Squadron popped out again and got hit back again very quickly. I wonder where they are. So we'll check out the scouting report. Eugene Carr is no longer defamed. See, our intelligence tells us that the Army of Western Florida is on the move somewhere. We're not sure where. Looks like they were in Jackson and Mobile. So the AI has recruited about 2 more brigades full of troops and started 5 new ships. While we chose financial, they went for 3-year contracts, is what it looks like. And you see here, currently our debt's at about 105 million. Not doing terribly there. So we'll speed through again, and if something exciting happens, we'll bring it back. So as we move into a little bit of September, looks like the rebels in that Department of Western Florida has decided to lay siege to Fort Pickens. Fort Pickens garrisoned by Harvey Brown with a decent amount of artillery. If we go pull up how many troops Pickens actually has, we're talking 663 men, 33 guns on top of the typical fort protections. So it's also a level 2 fort, so it should be quite difficult for the AI to take, but kind of one of those potential options. At the same time, looks like it was coordinated with this raid. Bad news for the raid is it disintegrated and is no longer a fleet. It's good news for us and Theodorus Bailey. I guess that's one of the things we didn't upgrade was our naval officers. So let's see. Guess we're in good shape. Don't need to upgrade them. Bailey must just be one of those that's when it's small, it's different than what it looks like when you expand him. Yep. So we've got that going on September 8th. While you were gone, we did go ahead and start Military 2 policy. From there, it'll be a question of whether we go Militia Act 4 and get 3-year contracts, or whether we go straight for reorganization. Kind of in between on that right now. Guess as all these departments start opening it up, realistically we'll be in winter quarters here shortly. So reorganizing and 3-year contracts could reasonably both get done before we get out of winter quarters. And then we'll probably be looking at Confiscation Act. And maybe we're looking at doing the breadbasket, things of that nature to try to potentially allow for more troops with breadbasket and farm mechanization. We are still overdoing it on our construction in the Navy, but most of that's due to this blockade. If this blockade was gone, our ports would be a little bit stronger. They do have a handful of fleets that must be working up the coast because they pop in for a split second for battle and then pop right back out. So it must be the Caribbean, yeah, squadron is just strong enough that they're immediately withdrawing. Farragut's fleet might be strong enough just to push those guys out, which will increase our speed of construction. And so we're going to go ahead and order him to go kind of clear that blockade. Stick him on patrol. I know he's got a bunch of ships that are disabled, but even if a couple of them get hit, he should be strong enough just to push that Charleston squadron back south, which will get rid of almost all of our blockade status, which is destroying our options for shipyards. It'll take a second to get that big fleet moving. A handful of things. We're going to go with civil order again, just really to boost our, and we'll probably do weapon production. Do we want to go infrastructure reform? We're producing a lot of weapons right now, so we'll go ahead and do that and kind of hold off with the rest. As you see, AOM does a great job of giving you pop-ups around the time that you typically would start doing policies and being able to reorganize your army. So I think that's a huge piece that they do there that's awesome. That's really probably what the direction we're going to go is probably those bounties before we worry about those 3-year contracts. Just the reorganization is just so important early game. We'll wait and see what the AI does. Right now they're on Militia 3. So if they start going for their Conscription Act, we'll know it's time to reorganize ours. As you see, some of these units are starting to move to border of Kentucky. Bill Nelson still kind of only our only troops in Kentucky. Let's see if it's made it up there yet. We'll speed it up a little bit faster. Well, there we go. There's the music. I'll start getting foot prepared to engage those forts. An ironclad there. to St. Louis. I want to stick a couple more ironclads in this gunboat squadron before we start really just kind of load foot up with ironclads to take out these forts. Because if we can take those forts out, then, especially with amphibious landings, if we take those forts out, it really sets the path to Nashville completely open. It forces the AI to have to consolidate their Western Department and their Army Department number 2. Everything in Tennessee really has to consolidate to then defend Nashville if you can take these forts out. I figure it's got to be getting close now. Steaming away. So we'll have 89 guns, they're 26. That should give us plenty ability to really hurt them. Hopefully just disintegrate the whole fleet. Looks like we got an engagement. The Nashville and Kentucky squadrons have engaged Foote, who should be okay. He does have those ironclads and cottonclads and timberclads, and he's got a lot of different clads. So he should be okay. But he is fighting 2 units at once. He's going to get support by the Kentucky River Squadron, who has a grand total of 2 ships. So they're not going to be a huge amount of help, but we'll bring the Missouri River Squadron over also and tell them to steam as quick as they can. Looks like we're not doing great at Fort Pickens. We'll check that out after this naval engagement. I think if we can win one of them, it'll set the stage for the other to be perfectly fine also. Looks like he's just not able to get all of his ships involved all at once. He's only got 5 in line. That's unfortunate. Just had one go down. But it looks like if he can clear this group, he'll be able to focus entirely. There's a Kentucky River Squadron trying to get involved. Well, it's really not going to tell us what's going on here. That's unfortunate. Farragut still hasn't made it. The whole reason we were still in tune over here is because we were trying to get Farragut here. We'll have to tell him to pick up the pace. His condition's deteriorated, but alright, there's the rest of that Tennessee River. Looks like we did okay. It's going to force some of the river ships to go other places. We did lose that one ship. First of our Napoleon 12-pounders are coming in. Time to order some more of them. What I like to do is just keep kind of small amounts, especially early on, so you're not overwhelming Like here, it'll take 70 days. It's just over 2 months. That's not too bad to get another 128 guns. And we're going to need them here as we start increasing the size of our army. Well, let's see if we can get Farragut to actually clear this blockade. There we go. He's engaged. And immediately sinks one of those ships. Has one of the other two disabled. Very quickly, potentially might capture both of those ships and destroy. Yeah, captured one, so they'll be slinking back with just a general clinch. And we'll let Farragut's ships go back into the harbor to try to recover a little bit. Let him keep the ship that's captured because he's already going to go to the harbor as it is. But like what you see up there, shipyard utilization just went way up. Blockades should drop. Looks like there might be another one around Cape May. So once Farragut's ships kind of get repaired, we'll start working their way that way. His ships will also be what we're going to use to do some naval invasions down here by the Pamlico Sound. Probably work on these forts, especially the level 1 forts. And we'll try to station a small number of troops there. Alright, so we'll jump back out and bring you back here shortly. So now we're looking at, looks like 3 different naval battles all taking place at the end of September. Should speed through those pretty quickly. There's none of them that really seem like they're going to be concerning. Of course, obviously the game's not going to tell me where any of them are specifically, but that's alright. Looks like at least the first one went okay. Yeah, looks like the Caribbean Squadron did pretty well. Captured some ships. We'll jump into it and figure out what we can stash away and rebuild. So clearly our blockade's doing pretty good because anytime they leave port right now, it's engaging in battles all over the coastline. We still have a good chunk of a blockade going on, but it's only at 2%. So my bet is it's somewhere down here by Cape May, Dover area, and Farragut's had almost enough time to recover. We're going to send him down just a little bit further, and we'll return to port closer down there if we don't find anything. Let it get a little bit more built up. Let's check in on Fort Pickens real quick. Alright, so we, in the meantime, have enacted Policy 2. So the question becomes, what do we do next? I think from a realism standpoint, we're going to do that later on, because if I recall correctly from AOM, it's been a little while since I've played the mod. I'm pretty sure the second you click on it, you get, yeah, it says immediately. It's really helpful they put that on there. So we'll go with 80-day Militia Act, get 3-year contracts. Those 3-year contracts come in handy. The way AOM works too is, if I recall again correctly, if I am wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments. But we will get an influx of volunteers available too. So we're right now at about 128, and we're almost on the time period where we can start allowing reinforcements to come in. So that may be a big jump for some of our brigades, especially some of those undersized ones in Missouri. Since they're not doing any fighting right now, when we hit that, we'll say mid-October probably. Let's see if anybody's even close to winter quarters right. No, it doesn't look like it. So because nobody's in winter quarters, we'll just continue to do what we're doing. Not sure why it says not sure what he needs to do to not be out of supply. Not sure. Alright, we'll check the intelligence report. They've added 52,000 more men and 7 new ships. So let's see. Huh. That is a large recruiting base. I know we're up to 187, which is a little higher than what I thought we were going to be at, but, you know, that's part of everything. Let's see what they're at. They're a little over 200,000 right now. So they're substantially out recruiting us. That's something I'd like to tweak a little bit, but it's not too bad. Early on in the war, it makes sense. For instance, though, their army of Kanawha that hasn't left, in fairness, it is still controlling those salt mines, so I can see why it wouldn't. So we might have to put a little bit of troop strength out here in West Virginia to push them out, but 18,000. Army of the Shenandoah is up to 33,000. Banks probably could have already taken them out, but too late now. 30,000 Army of the Potomac. Department of Richmond with another 12,000. We know they got the Army of the Northwest in here somewhere, as well as the Department of Norfolk, and a couple others just floating around. So, really not sure what they're going to do, how many troops really are floating around in Virginia. You look... Tennessee looks like it's pretty bare right now. Missouri, same thing. So we probably will be able to push quickly into northern Tennessee once we get some of these ironclads done and put into this fleet. We're going to send them back to port for now. Let them repair anything that's not perfect health. And then as all these ironclads come in, we're going to use them to bum rush Fort Hyman real quick, which has a decent sized garrison. But if we can take it out, it opens the door to Fort Henry with another decent garrison size, and Fort Donelson from there, with, again, taking out 3,000 some odd troops from them on these 3 forts would be very, very helpful. And then we can worry about Fort Pillow, which looks like it's marked as doesn't have any troops in it at all right now. We could take it this moment. Alright, so we'll bring you back here shortly. So as you can see on the screen, the Confederacy did pass their 3-year contracts. So they are a little ahead of us in that perspective. Farragut didn't see anything down by Cape May, so we'll send him back to port real quick, repair a little bit more. He still has 9 ships disabled, so I'd like to get that up because we have no idea what we're potentially running into down here. We've got a warm October still. We're still in the 50s, and it just dropped to the 40s. Nobody's really probably in winter quarters yet. As we zoom in, we can see a couple of them are starting to move into winter quarters up for us. So because of that, we'll go ahead and we'll wait until about October 15th. It should give a good likelihood of everybody being in winter quarters. We'll check. Kentucky, put one over there. Their winter quarters. How about Missouri and Kansas? Yep. So what we'll do there is we'll open up reinforcements. For those of you that have been paying attention to our house rules here, we will have a max of 250,000 troops for 1862. So as you see, we're already at 184. Once reinforcements really kick in, we'll probably start getting close to that 200,000 mark. So we'll go ahead and turn reinforcements on for most, and we'll go ahead and just do it for all of them. It appears that everybody is available in winter quarters, so they'd start getting some of these new recruits in. Once we do that, I would imagine our force numbers go up to that 200,000 mark, which gives us about 50,000 troops to play with for recruitment purposes. If we get to a point where we then start the campaign for 1862 and we start running short on troops, what we would have to do is then recruit a new brigade or two. And so really the hope is there that instead of just being able to keep the same units, you have to recycle some new units in there. Your older, more experienced units become withered down. If we find that if we jump more than 16,000 here, we might limit our winter quarters recruitment period from November to February instead of October. That could limit our numbers a lot better than what it might otherwise. If we look here at supplies, it needs 19,000 soldiers. So if we jump extremely quickly, we'll know that we need to tune that down a little bit and move that more to November when we get to 1862. And if we're really, really high, we can turn it back off in February. Looks like Farragut's decided to work his way down towards Cape May on his own. And is kind of steaming around in circles there, not really sure where he's going. So we'll go ahead and force him down that way. He's only got 7 disabled ships now. There's still this blockade somewhere. Really not entirely sure where. I would think our intelligence would show us just a little bit of it. This is Anscombe. It is. Tom's River is. New Brunswick is not. Newcastle. I'm thinking it's got to be in here somewhere. Bridgeport. I guess it could be up along. Nope. So we'll go hunting up here. See if we can't get it to show up. Seems to be one of those that's an invisible fleet, which is frustrating when you can't even find it. It's on your coast. You think your intelligence would know where it was. Albany, New Bedford. Oh no, that's not good. Fort Pickens has surrendered to Braxton Bragg down there. That's not good. So it looks like they went for King Cotton. That was quick. So at this point, we've now lost our only fort left in southern territory. Hopefully we can change that here soon if Farragut can find this sneaky blockade group. They could, I guess, be hidden up here near Bridgeport. Being one of these little coves tends to be where they like to hide them. See, we're already up to 186,000 troops, so we're increasing very quickly. Looks like we beat the Memphis Squadron. Why was the Memphis Squadron all the way down here? That seems silly. I think that's just indicative of what our blockade is really doing right now. Looks like we've got a ability to level up too. Let's assign a perk. What we'll try to do here is go random, because, or treat it, I guess, how the AI does and pick the first one available or the next one available. The AI tends to do that, so since we did torpedoes there, we'll go with whatever the next one is on the next perk upgrade for any, with the exception, I guess, of our fleets designed to take forts. I might just go ahead and make executive decision on those guys and make sure that we can actually take those forts out. So for instance, here we've got mortar boats. It's not going to be a huge help for really what they're doing, but looks like they've got amphibious landing also, so that could be helpful. Since they are blockading supply colliers. This is to avoid us getting too, I guess, overpowered with perks, because the AI picks perks that make no sense sometimes. Alright. I've got no idea where this blockade is. So we'll go check and see if it ran inside of New York Harbor. Alright, so we've got some guns getting delivered. Let's go order a bunch more. 50,000 should be plenty. Should be able to almost equip everybody in the military with one of those. Between the last couple orders. So we're just right now hunting this blockade, the Farragut, and if he's successful, we will start working to go try to hit one of these forts. I believe that's Fort Hatteras right there. We'll work on Fort Hatteras and hopefully turn that into a Union fort. It'll probably take 2 times because he won't have the perk yet, but we'll try to go there and probably New Bern and Fort Thompson. I know that's historical, but it's also level 1 forts. Let's see what we can do with level 1 forts before we start worrying about any of the others. Wilmington we could take and try to get the port, but realistically that's probably less likely. So we'll probably move down to Florida from there and try to take out, maybe not Fort Clinch because that's a level 2 early on, but moving down to Tampa and taking the fort down here. I forget the name of this fort. Fort Brooke. Just really to occupy them with the fact that we could attack from Florida. As you see, we're already up to 189,000 troops, so I think it's going to go probably a little bit too quick, and we'll probably cut it off in February, maybe February 10th or so, because, for instance, McClellan, where's he at now? Still needs 18k, but when all of the units are doing it together, it does kind of get overpowered very quickly. Alright, we'll just move him to Cape May. We'll put him in port once we get there. And try to use Cape May as our launch pad to hit Fort Hatteras. We're still at an A-, so that's pretty good. We're waiting for most of this until we've got army reorganization set. We might go ahead and do cavalry carbines. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Allows us to buy some more guns. Well, about 50,000 it takes that long. We'll start with a low number and just try to get production up. Because right now, if we had any cavalry, we didn't have any new guns for them, so that could help. I don't know where this blockade is, and it's really going to frustrate me just from that. Wish I could just get that tab to go away. Like, okay, yep, I understand. There you have 16 ports blockaded with a grand total of 2%. Like, okay, can tell me when it goes up. It's kind of my mentality on it at this point. We tried, we hunted, we failed. We're still a little over a month away from 3-year contracts. Yeah, we'll leave that for right now. 139,000 volunteers prepared to fight. I wonder what that looks like state-wise. We'll check that here at the beginning of the next month. We'll stick him in a port. We're almost popping all those ironclads that we want to put in the Mississippi squadron. Alright, so check the intelligence. So they're in a recruitment crisis already. They're already doing recruiting offices, military 2. They went for another 6,000 men, another 11 ships. So I think we're really damaging their shipbuilding. You know, as a player of the CSA, you kind of start throwing in the towel on the shipbuilding after a little while. Just starts crushing your economy for no reason when the Union just keeps pumping them out. So we are significantly down troop size-wise right now, but I'm not overly concerned with it. Let's see what our volunteer list looks like. Yeah, 138,000 men. We are lacking still in places like New York, Kansas, Tennessee. We're up 25 support. We're getting close where we can start pulling some big numbers. It's not to a point where I feel the need for recruitment offices yet. So, alright, we will cut this video here. Obviously, it's been a bunch of naval engagements, and we'll come back here probably at the end of winter quarters unless something else happens. Like we talked about, we might start with an engagement down the Mississippi River, but that's going to take some time for those ships to actually get outfitted there. And so until then, we will see you back.